I think let's go ahead and get started. My name is Bill. I'm the head of startup advisory here at Hyper Startup Studio in the UK. We help take founders all the way from idea stage to launch. So that's coming in, working together in kind of two separate work streams, one being the product and one being the commercial side. I head up the commercial side. So I help work with the founders on early validation, early traction, which can come in many different forms, but that's really what we're going to be focusing today's session on, is how to sell your product before you even build it. So this is primarily software. That is our specialty. We're joined today by Ned Phillips. He is our kind of sales guru partner. We do these sessions every month, I would say, myself and Ned. My background is also in sales. So we sit here and chat. Ned gives us a lot of wisdom, but I'll let him introduce himself here. One more, before you jump in there, Ned, one thing. We'll run this kind of, we have an hour here together. For the first section, I'll be asking Ned some questions. Ned usually will have some things to run with. Feel free to jump into the chat, ask some questions there. I'll be essentially moderating the chat and asking the questions for you. And then as we get to the end, maybe we can have some collaboration as well. Ned loves collaboration, so please drop some questions in there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's become our monthly thing now, right? This has become our thing. We come up with ideas and we roll with it. And as Bill is very kind not to mention, I'm sometimes a little disorganized. And before the last call, he's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Oh, crap. Almost forgot the last one, but did not, now I am fully here." Okay. So, Bill, why don't I do this? Let me just put my screen on spoken, do not disturb. I'll give just a couple of minute intro to me. And then do you want me then just to run with the whole topic, or did you want to ask some questions before I run with the topic?
You start off, and then I'll jump in with questions as we're going.
Alrighty. So everybody, I appreciate it. There are now 40 of you, so the maths is pretty good. We had almost 100 reply, average 50%. So for the 40 you rocked up, thank you wherever you are. I am Ned, as Bill said. I always like to start with this. I have a magic superpower that almost none of you have. I'm 58 years old, so I've just been doing this for longer than all of you. In saying that, on the last call, if you remember, Bill, some dude undid his video and went, and I think I'm allowed to swear here. I've asked Bill this before. He said, "Fuck you, I'm 62. I'm like, "Oh my God, you have more superpowers than I do." And the only reason I kind of say this is that Bill very kindly calls me a guru. I've been selling for 35 years. If you've done anything for 35 years, you better be good at it. So if you've been cracking your head against the wall at something for 35 years and you suck at it, I don't know what to tell you. It's too late. I can't help you with that. You need to go. You need a different webinar. So, and I had spent most of my career in Asia. Grew up in the UK. Corporate in Asia for about 28 years in finance, fintech, software. So always selling, running sales teams, and ultimately running businesses. And then I did my own startup for 8.5 years. We grew a wealth management software. So we help people save and invest B2B. I'm a B2B guy. So if you guys are B2C, still, you could definitely get some info from here. But definitely, this is more B2B. And I built a company called Bamboo. We did 20 million of revenue over the 7 years that we had it. We raised about 20 million of funding. We unbelievably did not get out alive. What I mean is we had to close it in the end because we actually oversold and had a delivery problem. So we got really stuck in delivery and we kept customizing our tech. And in the end, we had to, Andrew, can you mute? Is that okay? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And when I finished that, I decided that what I was really good at was sales. I should focus on that. So now I run my own little services business called the Sales Movement. I help startups increase sales. And I say using content. And I mean content in all forms. How you post on LinkedIn, how you craft a pitch, how you tell a story, everything about your pitch your sales is what I love. So that's me. As Bill says, I love to run. I have a pretty unstoppable energy for quite a few things, running and sales. So yeah, hopefully this won't be a boring session because I love talking about sales. Bill, did you want to give any context to why you chose this topic particularly, or are you good if I'll just run with it right away?
No, I'm happy to jump in with this. So, oftentimes, in order to raise investment, you need to be able to show traction. In order to show traction, that can come in many different forms. I think the most important trait in a founder is being able to sell, but it's not necessarily just selling to customers. Showing traction is obviously that. So having, in a B2B sense, it could be having letters of intent from prospective customers. It could be having sold to potential team members to join, advisors. It can be partnerships, which also can lead to various different revenue streams, and ideally some customers coming in later as well. So it's hypercritical to be able to do that in order to raise investment. In order to build a product, you pretty much need to have some money coming in, which is usually that friends and family type round. So selling to what do you call it? Friends, family, and fools, Ned. Getting that initial investment in is super important. And in order to do that, you need to show some type of traction. So that's one of the things we do here at Hyper. And that's why I thought it'd be great to have Ned on, and him and I can discuss what those forms look like.
Let's do it. All right. So we'll start at the beginning. In the invite, the first two statements were, how do we start by selling the problem, not the product? And how do we use storytelling to make the problem feel urgent and worth solving? Did you notice that it didn't say anything about the product? So again, don't hate me for this, but your product sucks, right? I don't actually mean your product sucks. Nobody wants to buy your product. What they want is what it does and how it helps them. So really just take a minute, because we could almost stop the webinar here and say, if you took that away, that's a win. When I say your product sucks, what I mean is actually, as Bill knows, I just say not just what comes into my head. I know what's in my head, but I'm going to give you the reason for you to understand why you don't necessarily need a product to start selling. And even if you have your product in your hands, you should not show it. And here's the context. So I have kids. My kids are all grown up, 25 and 23. When my kids were little babies, I thought they were the most beautiful babies in the world because they're my kids, right? When you meet a friend and your friends have had a baby, and they bring the baby and they go, oh, look at this baby. Isn't it beautiful? And I don't know about you guys, but in my head, I'm like, just looks like a baby. Doesn't look any different to me, people. Just looks like a baby. That's your product. No one cares, right? It's not that your baby is ugly or your product is ugly. It's that you're pitching the wrong thing. Obviously, we're not pitching babies here. Let's be clear. We're pitching products. When you did a startup, or if you're thinking of doing a startup, you're in essence solving a problem. And I know it's a bit cliched, but you're doing something that you think is worth solving. Say that with passion, because people believe that more than when you show them your screen of your app you've built, just like a newborn baby, they've seen it a million times, right? Unless it's Chat GPT, where we were like, holy shit, this product's 1 in a billion, but yours isn't, because if it is, you wouldn't be on this call, right? Your product is a story in your own head. You have to tell that with passion, because if you can't tell the story with passion, your product, again, unless it's a WhatsApp or a Chat GPT or something incredible, isn't going to solve that problem. And I think it's too easy in the early stage. I hear again and again startups tell me, oh, as soon as I build this feature, I will pitch it. What, you mean the feature that nobody wants? The feature that you created in your own mind that people wanted? And it's a really, so, and I'm gonna write down here. So have a look in the chat. So people say, okay, Ned, how do you do that? I'll show you. We do what for who? Do you see that phrase I just put into the chat? You have to be able to say that in 10 words.
This is one of the things that I have the founders at Hyper do pretty much from the very first meeting onward is I need to get an elevator pitch. And most of them are terrified to do it, to be put on the spot. But it's like, this is ultimately like the true test. Like you'll pitch more by doing an elevator pitch than you ever will by having, conversations. Because really, anybody asks you, what are you doing now? You tell that's an elevator pitch. What are you working on? That's an elevator pitch. So you need to have that tight, ready to go. Sorry, Jim, I'm going to mute you.
Just for fun and giggles, because hey, look, we're all startup people on this call. Being a startup person, you need to be brave. You need to do stuff. Can you guys? Why don't you type in 10 words in the chat your elevator pitch? We do what? While listening to me as well. I know that's two tasks, a little hard as salespeople, I'm not the brightest. But we do what for who, how. Okay, so how do we do that? When I started my company, so I'll give you how I did it, and I hope that will give you some context. 2016, and I will read through all of these. Andrew, you got me a cyclist. Let's go. I love that. All right. In 2016, I thought that investing will go digital. In 2016, buying a mutual fund or a stock was still quite manual. And I thought it will go digital and banks will need software to help them do that. So I built a company called Bamboo. And what did we do? We said to the banks, now remember, it's not what you do so much, it's how you help. We help banks retain customers by going digital. Now, 2016, going digital was a big thing. So we help who? Banks. Do what? Retain customers. How? By going digital. They were like, okay. Then you can get into the pitch. Remember, you're solving the problem. And it's really important, like drill this into your head, right? We do what? For who? How? And then tell the little bit of story around it. So, as I scan through these, and thank you for putting them in, Andrew is from Valoa. He's connecting cyclists. Oh, no, everyone's putting in now. And trainers with live video. But Andrew, just to give you some feedback. So what do? You connect. Actually, Andrew, mute. Thank you. Actually, not bad. So you connect cyclists with trainers with live video and open hardware to do what though? Like, how does it? We do what? Like, do we make them fitter? Just for example, Gemma, digital marketplace connecting certified carers and families. So we do what? Like, is it a marketplace? I think connecting who? Carers and families. How? So I think you're starting to see helping people with Parkinson's live longer, happier lives. Great. And remember, you then have to put your story. So why did I build Bamboo? Why did I care so much? I used to say to people, I've spent 20 years building shitty tech. For 20 years, I worked at corporate building wealth technology that kind of sucked. And I thought, what if I could build it that didn't suck? And I was also very honest. I said, I really think that as a sales guy, I have an opportunity to build something not only that people want, that people will use. So I told them my story. Tell them who you are. And I'm going to say, I know you'll find it hard. And I do have some slides to show. It's not just all me talking. I'll show you some thoughts of how to do this. But remember, your product sucks. And I'm going to say something else. It's not personal. And you suck. I don't mean you suck. What I mean is nobody came to your pitch to listen to you or buy your product. They came to be wowed by a story and see if they could get a benefit. When you realize you don't pitch you and you don't pitch your product, you just pitch the fantastic story. And you know what? Tell people you're changing the world. Seriously, tell people you're changing the world. Because
Ned,
if
I've got
you're
a
not,
question.
go for it.
I've got a question for you.
Go for it.
How do you balance being lean and scrappy with still maintaining credibility when you're selling an enterprise or B2B sales?
Describe credibility. I obviously know what the word means in English, but in what sense do you mean here?
Well, if you're doing B2B sales, if you're selling to a business, it's difficult to sell before you have, some type of thing to show them. It's also difficult to even get a meeting. So for example, credibility could be brand equity. It could be having a landing page even, or an email that doesn't show at gmail.com. So what is this brand credibility versus
Good point.
scrappy to get you these initial sales?
What we did, and you can completely do today now with all of the ability to, you've seen Lovable raising at $1 bazillion because they can build you a website instantly. I used it yesterday, spun up a website. Here's what you do. You create a deck, pretty simple. And most of you are software, so you have a screenshot of a phone or a computer with your product on. You can do that. Like the design capability, that's what we did. And we said, we don't have this product yet. We are building it. But we know what it is. And so for me, the credibility is a combination of, you have to have a vision. Like the worst thing is, hey, we're building everything for everyone. No one's going to buy that. No one wants if you have to absolutely know what you're doing. And just another thing here, Bill, it's not my phrase, and it's a bit of a silly phrase, but niche down. What I mean is, hey, we help every company save time using AI. No one's buying that. And I'm just an example. We help pet shops that service small dogs in London find more customers. If I'm a pet shop in London who services small dogs, and there was an app that helped me find more customers, I'm using it, right? It's absolutely nailed on, and show the credibility by showing some screenshots that make sense. Because most people you sell to are not tech people. They don't know the difference between a wireframe, and you should tell them, hey guys, this is just a wireframe. We are building the code on the back end. You can buy this. Yes, you'll be. And look, not everybody wants to be the first customer, but for many of you, you're scaring yourselves by believing it isn't ready. It's never ready. Jeff Bezos with his $100 trillion still says day one. Let's face it. I think Amazon's ready, right? So whatever you have, we actually got $250,000 from our first customer from a PowerPoint that says we will build this. And what they said was, we'll give you 125 up front. If you deliver on time, we'll give you the other 125. And we did, and they did. Okay. Now, everybody, I'm just going to quickly look through this. Wow. Ronnie, a tasty health snack that will leave you more satisfied than eating a bag of crisps. See, that's the story, right? Now, Ronnie, you have the problem. I need to taste the crisp, right? So you have a hardware problem, right? You can't just do a mock-up of that because something you're putting in. But you see, there's a pitch. It's a tasty health snack. Leave you fair enough. Like, I got that. I don't know if you have those. And I'm just scanning through these. Have alcohol they don't want. Look at that. Okay. Wayne, does anyone have alcohol they don't want? Bottle Swap is the first online marketplace to buy, sell, and swap unwanted alcohol seamlessly and legally. If you could make that shorter, that would be great. That would be great, right? And look, you see here, I don't really care if any of you have built this or not. I now know, I'm starting to know what you do. You're pitching a story. All righty. Now, and I'll leave 15 minutes at the end and we can ask questions. Number 3 on this pitch, it said, pitch a future your customers want to be part of. I'm going to share my screen. Here's my screen. Has anybody, okay, got it, infinite mirror. Has anybody read this? And I'll slip back to the chat to see if you have. Bill, you go out. Everybody's read this. This is a really important bit for you guys at your stage to understand how to pitch without a product. So this book is by a guy. Bill, you talk about brand equity. This dude's name is Keenan. I'm sure he has a longer name, but he styled himself just one name, Keenan. I'm like, I don't know if it's his first name, last name, but it works because he sold a ton of these books. But his philosophy is this. If you were entirely happy with your present state of being, you would never buy anything. Why? We only buy something because we want a different future state. If you're hungry, you buy food. If you're bored, you buy Netflix. If you want to go somewhere, you buy an airline ticket. Everything you buy is to have a state in the future that you believe is better than the state you're in now. It's really like it's so what you're actually pitching is the future state. So let's say, and if I go back to here and the alcohol, my future state, does anyone have alcohol they don't want? So for Wayne's current state, I don't drink, but let's say oh my God, I keep having dinner parties and I have hundreds of bottles of crap alcohol and it's cheap that people bring for my dinner party because they're cheapskates and I don't want it. Okay, I have a problem. Do you want a future state with no alcohol in your house and some money? Yes, I do. What does Wayne do? What does Wayne do? He fills the gap. So for all of you here, and again, just think about it now, you all wrote what you did. So Ollie, we help coaches scale their impact through data-driven resilience and recovery tools. So what is the future state a coach wants?
Ned, can you stop sharing we're on an infinity screen here.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, I'll stop there. Okay, so I'll stop sharing here. So for example, think about the future state that your client wants. So my current business, the sales movement, and I'll tell you something, it's taken me a while to work out what my clients actually want. So I help startups increase sales using content. The content is what's in their pitch, their LinkedIn, their email marketing, everything, right? I thought that startups want sales. It took me a while to work out what they want is something else. Bill, I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot. This is a tough question. It took me a year to figure out. What do startups actually want? It's hard. It took me a year.
Revenue?
Kashif, everyone else can chime in. Very good. Close, but not the actual answer. Anybody else? Money. Growth, good. Money, Iris is close. Mentoring and guidance, no. Base, no. Guidance, no. It's hard. All right. A couple more typing coming in. I'll see what everyone else says. Proof they're onto something. Product development, no. Okay. When success, close. I think Ollie is pretty close. You know what they want? They want an exit. Every startup wants an exit. If you tell me you're doing this for no exit, you're a better human than me, right? And when I changed my pitch to helping startups sell enough to exit, I got a lot more interest. You see, sales, even I was struggling to understand what is the future state. Some startups never want to exit, right? I get it. I understand. And everything you said here, confidence, success, understand their customers, another sound in their head. Alex, that's great, man. Yeah, that sound in your head. Why the fuck did I do this? Why didn't I just have a job? When will the money come in? Yeah, that sound in your head. Yeah, I know that. think about now that's quite far future state, but for each of you, think about the future state you're creating for your client. Think about how you fill the gap. Remember, hungry by food, bored by Netflix, go somewhere by airplane ticket. For me, startups want to exit, they need sales. Ned gives me sales. Awesome. Ned helps me exit. Awesome. Now, some people just want sales. Great, but sales is a means to an end. Again, using Wayne's example, I want alcohol not in my house. Great. I don't want money in my bank account. Great. Done. Like I think the first one that Andrew did was cyclists are training. What are they training for? I don't know if it's a race or health or fitness. So as we think about this, you'll hear, I don't really care what your product is. What I care is, are you taking people to a better future? And I promise you this, people, if you can show people a better future and they show you can fill the gap and your product works and fairly priced, you will sell tons of it.
I've got a question here, Ned, for you.
Go for it.
Let's say so you've gone, given a great pitch. How do you then go in for let's say the kill and go in for an LOI, or what is the ultimate goal here whenever you're selling pre-product?
Great point.
And how do you frame that ask?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think there is. So let's say you're truly pre-product. It's just a thought in your head on a scribble or bit of paper. I think for me, you go in super. There's nothing but transparency here. Is that what you'll find is later stage startups are like, oh, this feature's almost ready, when it's not. If you have nothing, pitch the vision. We're going to do X, and ask them. You've got to show once. Hey, in a week's time or a month's time, I will show you version 1. I will. If I show you version 1 and it does what I said and you want it, would that be enough to trigger you at least using it and have the opportunity to trigger an LOI, a commercial deal? I don't think you can ask somebody to put money down unless you put some real skin in the game. That's how I've always thought about it. You've got to show them, hey guys, we're super early. This is what it does. And if they're interested, if in a month's time or a week's time, give yourself the time, not too long, I can come back and I show you it does that. Would you try it? And if you try and if it works, so don't do free POCs just for the hell of it. You want an outcome, right? And then and if it does that, you can ask, but remember, don't just ask one person. And I have a few slides to share in a few minutes to show you how to put this in action. Ask 100. Ask a lot of people. This idea that you're going to ask 3 friends and hope for the best. No. So that's one thing I would say.
One of the things that we do in trying to frame for an LOI with the hyper founders is, usually we'll have a prototype whenever we're starting to speak to these people, have a bit of brand equity so that you can get the calls, get the meetings. But in asking for an LOI, one of the things we definitely always say is, this is non-legally binding. This just allows us to show traction in the market, and we can take this traction to investors in order to build this. And, as one of our, founding customers and one of our early customers, you'll be instrumental in building a product that you need, that solves your problems or brings you to the exit, as Ned said for his startup founder. So that's another way to do it. We just try to keep it as light touch as possible. Let them know that there is no legal commitment here. It's just, to show traction. Good point.
Great point. Svetlana, just to answer questions, what about selling to partners for a partnership? Honestly, no, not now. It's very early. You can try, but until you've proven some traction, I personally think partners are really going to struggle selling something you haven't got a lot of traction for. So given it's early stage, think about, you are building the cake and putting the cream on the cake. Partnerships is cherry. If you haven't built the cake, the cherry is just going to fall. So do not rely. Partnership deals are amazing, but they don't replace your own Great work. Okay. Alrighty. So I wanted to do this. Let me again share my screen. No worries, Svetlana. All good. All right, share. Got it. All right. How much traction allows for investors to feel secure? Hold on. How much traction allows for investors? Well, I'll come back to that, Darren, because that's a difficult one. All right. You've got my screen?
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right. I don't like spending too long on the screen. I am looking at my phone to make sure I do no more than 5 minutes. Many of you have not been trained or are salespeople. I often hear founders going, I don't know how to sell. I've never been a salesperson. So I just don't know what to do. My product's not ready. Remember, your product's never ready. Don't worry. So how do I sell myself? How do I get this traction? So I'm just going to give you some tasks. I'll share this with Bill afterwards. He can share it. Simple. Just to show you, this is me. I'm going to talk about doing content, doing outreach, something that, I'm 58, not that old, but long ago. The joke here is that I have these little hands like this T-Rex. So I used to type, I have to lean into the keyboard. If I can figure out how to use technology to help sell, so can you. Let's go. Really important. No one can buy a product they don't know about. So just think about that. None of you on this call have ever bought a product you didn't know about. It's impossible. You either advertised it, saw it online, or you're in the supermarket, came around the corner, and there was a new flavor of ice cream, and you thought, oh, yum, I'll buy. So, is that me? No, okay, not me. Okay, good. I thought some amazing music. We need to generate a lead, interact with a lead, and follow up. How? I'm going to talk about LinkedIn a little bit. You have to tell people your story, not tell people about your product. So, Ned, I help startups with sales. So you'll notice me on LinkedIn. Please do follow me on LinkedIn. By the way, I'll put it in the chat. Get next to a few followers. Thumbs up. But I give sales tips all day long. And then people think, oh, shit, I need more sales. I'm going to call that old running sales dude. Whatever the problem you're solving is, post about it, comment on other people's posts about it, email. So how to email? Look at all the emails you have in your email inbox, all of the addresses, and email everybody and tell them you're doing a startup. Produce content about what you do. What is content? A newsletter, be on a podcast, do video. You've got to increase your surface area of luck. None of this is sales. It's just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm trying to solve this problem. And people will come to you. And if you tell me you can't do 10 sales actions a day, stop your startup. You can. And I'll tell you how to do it. Whichever app that you doom scroll, Insta, TikTok, or whatever, make yourself a rule before you go and waste some of your life on that silly app, you will do 10 sales actions. So I do that. I mean, my number's higher than 10 because I've been at this a while. Think about it. 10 sales actions times 365 is 3,650 chances for somebody to look and buy your product. If after a year, nobody wants to buy it, you know what to do, right? Shut your company, it didn't work. But at least you'll know. If in a year you didn't tell anybody about it and you shut your company, that's a crying shame. Okay. This sounds ridiculous because I've just been talking at you, but learn to listen. For most of you as new founders, a bit like your new baby, you tell everybody it's the most beautiful baby, you tell everybody about it. No one cares. No one cares about your product. So to sell at the beginning, give the potential client a chance to ask you questions. It will frame what you're building. It will frame what you do, what you pitch, and let them speak. Record your Zoom call, get a transcript. If you speak more than 50%, you're decreasing the chance of selling. I aim for 25%. So I want the client to speak 75% of the time. Every word you say decreases the chance of you getting a deal. Okay, like my dinosaur, learn. So sales have changed. When I was young, I just knocked on people's doors and asked them to buy my stuff because they didn't have the internet, didn't know what my stuff was. Everybody can Google your stuff, so don't tell them about your stuff. Build a brand. How? Go to LinkedIn. I'll show you my LinkedIn and post about what you do. Go on a podcast, go on a newsletter. And if you really can't figure it out, whether it's an AI coach or whatever, sales, a bit like my running, is like fitness. You'd get a fitness coach. If you can't work out sales, just find a coach. It helps. Okay? And another thing I want you to do after this call, write down the 3 benefits of your product, not the features. Okay? Tell people how you help, not what you do. Tell people what you have today, not in the future. And just to give you some context here, you know when you go on an airline and they have the airline magazine in the pocket and you pick out the airline magazine and it says holidays to Bali, holidays to New York, holidays to Tokyo. And the last 2 pages are the features of the plane. This is an A380 with 500 seats and 2 twin engines, blah, blah, blah. I'm almost sure if you guys sent me your deck, it would be the other way around. It would be, let me tell you about all the features I have because I'm so proud of them. Whereas you should be saying, we're going to take you to a future place. And then no one really cares about the features. And it doesn't really matter if you've built it or not. Unlike an airplane, you have to build it, clearly. But, yours is software. You will build it, and you will tell them where you're at, but you've got to tell them what it does. Okay? And last one here, figure out leverage. What I mean is, one LinkedIn post gets 1,000 impressions. Email marketing, you can do 500 emails in a day. You comment on a big creator's post, you could get seen. Don't hide in the shadows. Don't try to do it one by one. You can do it. And it has been 5 minutes. Just to finish this off, not trying to be like, look at me, but I'm a salesman. B2B companies need sales. I make that happen since 1990. By the way, I change this pretty regularly. But the more you post, so I just post about sales. So learn sales in 30 seconds a day. Like, if I'm willing to run down the street and post or create stuff about, sales, I do videos, I do, other people commenting on how they sell. Everybody knows me as the sales guy. And what happens is this, and this is probably the most important thing you need to do. If you're not posting on LinkedIn, you don't see this. You see this? 1,900 people looked at my profile. These are customers. Not all of them, but some of them. Probably Iris or Duncan are on the call here. Now, I could say, hey guys, you need help with sales. They've already shown me they're interested people. 1,900. That's because I'm willing to do posting. Let me stop sharing. Yeah. It's so important that you put yourself out there and tell your story, because by doing that, you give yourself the best chance. I hope that was helpful. Let me answer a couple of questions. How much traction allows for investors to feel secure in your ask? Wow, that's like, I don't even know what to say because it's all different, right? Let's face it. Some investors will give you money because they're the 3 Fs: friends, families, and fools, right? So friends because they like you, family because they love you, fools because they don't understand investing, right? A real VC probably won't invest in you because they have their own metrics. I don't think there's any traction. Okay, Darwin, honestly, the level of your self-belief and confidence given your very early stage probably would impact how an investor sees you. That would strike me. The willingness and the confidence and the willingness to do, what's it called, uncommon things. So, well, have you sent out 1,000 pitch decks? Have you called 1,000 VCs? Have you coded all night? Have you done stuff that's uncommon in a sea of normality? If you had, I would invest, given the fact that we have no other proof points. Dammy,
Yeah,
can you get the slide?
there are no like there is no one answer for that because every founder is different, so they might have a different background that allows them to give confidence to an investor to part with their money. Um, every business is going to be different, so there's not it's quite difficult to quantify that number without knowing what you're doing. But the answer is probably more. So one of the things that I always say to founders every day is wake up and think, how can I raise my valuation today? It should be burning thought in your head. How can I raise my valuation in order to get a product built? Like let's say in order to raise your valuation, one of the most important things to do is to have a product in the market. So how do you get the traction to build that valuation to raise to get that? So it's very difficult to do these things kind of like a chicken or the egg. I'll give a real world example of somebody who went out and got traction and raised at an extended valuation. Normally pre-product, on the high end, you're going to have a 2,500 or 2.5 million valuation. One of our startups called Amble came in through our accelerate process, and they, on the backside of it, went door to door to restaurants in London, got, I think, something like 1,500 letters of intent, and then raised at a 15 million plus valuation, raised 2 million with that. So they're also, very gifted salespeople, very hardworking. So they gave the confidence to the investor that they're going to go out and execute, but already going out and doing something like 1,500 LOIs shows, an extreme commitment to growing their business.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is definitely the outliers, and I love, Bill, that you said they did the work, they put that in. Absolutely, absolutely. Just to say, Dammy, can you get the slides? Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. Here. There is the Google link for that slide I just showed you. Have that. I'm going to answer Aslespion, which is clearly an AI chat. Would you agree that a well-designed conversational AI is better positioned to actually generate sales? No. It can run conversations at scale 24/7. Correct. Automatically analyze them. Correct. And protect your own time. Dude, if you want to protect your own time, that's called a job. Like if you want to protect time, get a job 9 to 5, man. This is, startups is every single second. Now, I'm all for automation. I get it. Like I like automation. So I'm not saying don't use AI. What I'm saying is if you leave your sales to AI, I think there's a big chance that you're missing real opportunity. So everybody knows what B2B is, correct? Everybody knows what B2C is, correct? All right. First person in the chat to answer this correctly. I have not done this before, Bill, but I'm going to do it right now. First person in the chat to answer this question correctly, I will do a half hour.
There we go. Love that. One thing I will say to Aslepion, though, real quick. Sorry, Ned. Reading the elevator pitch earlier is very confusing to understand what it is you do because there's so many buzzwords in there. Unites timeless wisdom with AI to transform global well-being. I have no idea what that means. So it's really important, like crystal clear what it is you do, how you do it, why people will pay for it, why this is a paradigm shift in an industry. That's what you need to have in a pitch deck. But really, in an elevator pitch, it's what it is you do and how do you do it.
Absolutely. One thing I'll say is I love this one. If a elevator pitch is like a good joke, if you have to explain it, it's not very good. Think about it. If you have to explain your joke sucks. If you have to explain your elevator pitch, it's not an elevator pitch. So that's because, okay, here we go. First person to write in the chat. You guys know what B2B is. So what do you win? You win, and wow, time with Ned. How egotistical of me. But I will help your sales. What I do is I will dive into your sales processes. I'll give you some tips. 1 hour call, blah, blah. We know what B2B is, business to business. We know what B2C is. What is H2H in terms of sales?
Oh, people are typing.
Marcus Jones, human to human. Let's go. Marcus, good job. Honestly, so Marcus, hit me up. My in here, Ned at the salesmovement.co. That's my email. Everyone else can hit me up too, just for the hell of it. But I will give Marcus. So I'm training a big startup the other day. You guys are good. Well done. Because I'm training a big startup. I do like corporate days. There was 30 of them. And I said H to H. And everyone was like, and one person said half to half for budget comparison. For half to half, I'm like, Jesus Christ. No. We are still humans. Use AI. By the way, Paul, house to house. I love that, man. I used to do house to house. Absolutely. Get a pitch now. Sure, use automation to do outreach at scale, but always dive in as a human. Always look at the messages. When someone gives you an in to tell your story, do it. That helps massively. Okay. Marcus, hit me up on that. I'm just looking through here. One last thing that Bill had put on here, using simple prototypes to bring your idea to life. Can I just give you a really great tip on that? You guys are desperate for sales, I assume. If you have somebody on the hook, they want to see your demo, please do something cool for them. As simple as putting their logo on. As simple as reading, that you know that their business could fit into something that you do. Do that bit of extra work. Go to LinkedIn and find out who they are, so you turn up in the meeting showing that extra bit of desire. You know why? Because somebody at a big corporate can go and sell them the product, and they'll buy from the big corporate. Why? There's no risk. So the big corporate sales dude turns up, sells the product, they buy it, blah blah. You're the little kind of newbie, like you've just turned up at school and none of the kids like you and you got no friends and you've got to be cool. You got to do something, I love that. Pretend the product is already sold to them, put their logo on it, put it in their environment. You know what we used to do in my previous startup? Before we turned up, we would get their app if they have one, and we would get a screenshot, improve it, and say, by the way, we did a business audit, and here are 3 ways that you can completely improve your product, and you get that for free. That's yours. All good. Of course, the subtext is we can do that for you. So be thoughtful, be cool, because if you have one client on the hook, that's a gold lead. It's a really gold lead. Okay. I
have a question on this one.
Kashif, go for it, man.
The question is that, if we have not built anything and we just trying to sell it, and what kind of demos can we show and what kind of things we can actually demonstrate that actually we can deliver?
So the demo that you would show, in my mind, would be just screenshots at the least, right? Just screenshots, or you know how to do, it's almost old school now, Figma. Bill, I'm going to have to ask you to mute because your typing's coming through. Sorry, sir. It's okay. Phil, thank you. Kashif, you must have an image in your mind of what it looks like. That is truly enough to start. You tell people, I know what, but be clear. I know what I'm building. Not, hey, I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm going to, and never say to the client, hey, I'll build whatever you want, because they don't know. I'm very clear about what I'm building. This is the screenshot what it's going to be. I know the day that it will go live. Kind of have to know that. And I'm showing it to you first because I believe it is super interesting to you. So have confidence, Kashif, in your belief in your product, because if you can get somebody to come along and believe, imagine you go live with already customers. To somebody, I forgot who asked the question, how much traction do you need? Dallin asked, to raise money. Imagine when you go live, you've already got 2 customers. That's what you do. So screenshots, storyboard of what it is, a bit like a movie, Kashif. Think of it like a movie. They build a storyboard and they have little figures moving around, you know, hero, heroine, danger, love story, happy in the end. Let's go. Do you like the story? Yes, I'm doing that.
Ned, I have a question here. First
it,
of all,
Alex.
thanks for the session, and Bill
No
as
worries.
well. Thanks for organizing that. So I have recently a very productive and promising discussion with one potential partner, and I'm pre-product as well.
Sure.
And but it's in the latest stage of launching, so we're in the testing phase now. The outcome of that meeting was very positive. The client, the partner, I would say, got so excited. It was like, this is what I need. My merchants will love that. The businesses he already started having ideas, and we already pointed out a couple of avenues and pillars that we can work with together, which is an amazing partner, very major fintech provider as well. My question to you is, how can I build on that momentum with my investor discussions, with other partners discussions, knowing that there is nothing nothing documented yet. It's just excitement that the outcome of the call was, okay, go live, see how it goes, and we're happy to work. We want to work together. You have what we needed, right? How do I translate that verbal momentum, I would say, and acceptance and potential into something for later on discussions, I would say?
Yeah. So, as Darlin said and Bill said, the ideal outcome is a letter of intent, but it's very hard to get, I won't lie, because somebody needs to sign it. And if you make somebody sign something, oh no. So here's the way to do it, Alex. I would send an email, kind of summary of the conversation. Hey guys, you said you were really excited. You said you would use it when it's built. Is that correct? Now, you want to say it so they have to type back, yes, we are excited. So what you want to get is at least an email show from them to you, showing that verbal. It's so much easier to send an email because they don't have to sign it. It's not a letter of intent. It's not formal. They don't need compliance to tell them. So, Alex, you have to think carefully, because don't just send an email saying, you were excited, you said yes, is that correct? They say yes. They need to put some words in. So think about it. You were excited about this product. What feature did you like the most? So make them write something. When ideally would you like this to go live? Oh, we would like it tomorrow. Great. And if it did everything you said, would you pay for it? Yes, we would pay for it. Then you take that email and you say to people, look, I can't get a letter of intent yet because it's not ready, but I have written proof. And when people say, oh, it's just an email, you could fake it or make it up. Seriously, if they believe you'll do that, they're not investing in you anyway. Right? They're not doing it. But that's what I would do. Email is the lowest barrier for them to show. And honestly, Alex, if you know them well enough, you can just say, hey guys, thank you so much for your support. I used to say to my clients, I will run through brick walls for you to make this real. Would you be able, if I sent you an email just to confirm you're interested? Because I would like to raise money for this, and this would be incredibly, don't be scared to be very open and very honest. Hey, this is my everything. I'm going to work till midnight. I'm going to run through walls for you. And if you were able to just write down or show to me that, nothing legal there, it helps me to get more money and grow the product. Does that make sense, Alex?
Yeah. No, definitely makes sense. An email would be a very good idea. At least the engagement, the part of and initiating the discussion, and whenever it's needed, it's something that we can build on as we progress our relationship together.
Exactly, because the verbal, a client said they wanted it. Every investor, everyone's heard that a million times. Written down, much better.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, Ned.
No, all right. Daglan, this is exactly what I'm doing currently, Ned, with the Google form. By the way, Google Forms. James, no, it's ned@salesman.co. Someone else had .com. It is .co. And I'll put my LinkedIn in here as well.
Ned, we got to end this here pretty soon, man. I would call it 11.
All right, man. So, guys, here's what I'm going to do. Please, here, I'm putting this in there. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Say hi. Obviously, Marcus, email me. But I am available for questions and everything. I love sales. I hope it was helpful. Bill, over to you to close it out.
Thanks, Ned. Thank you to everyone for joining today. Hopefully, everyone got something good out of it, something that they can action within their own startup. As Ned has said, you can feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn. He drops some good knowledge, or send him an email directly. Also, feel free to reach out to me on Apollo with any questions you might have, or on LinkedIn as well. I don't post as much as Ned, but maybe I'll start doing my 10 actions that he discussed earlier. Thank you, everyone. We'll do another one of these next month. If you have some ideas on things you'd like to cover, shoot them over to me. I think it could be good to get some ideas from people that are regularly attending these as well. That would be great.
Awesome.
Have a great day. Cheers.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everybody. Good luck, everybody. Keep at it.
Cheers.
Good work, guys. Yeah.